it's early, but I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah, it's a really good
I know where we're going.
All right. We're going to end it early this week, guys. I don't want to push it, and I think that is a fucking awesome dramatic end.
If we
to
want
this
to
story.
If they want to like stick around, then we just want to do like a Q&A-ish kind of thing.
Yeah,
Whatever.
sure.
Like since we, I don't want to like, I don't want them to lose out on time because they've come out here and they've watched us play. And
if anyone has questions, happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about that?
Unexpected, but kind of
Pretty devastating.
awesome. Yeah, it's really that
Especially
will bring us together.
Yeah.
This was like in this episode and the last one we played was like, I feel like Rain and I were making some sort of connection, so
Yeah.
it's like it happened perfectly, but it's also awful.
Yeah, it was.
Especially because you have
The writer in me is like, yes, like, yes, I made that
I
happen.
know, it's like, wow, we finally kind of got this camaraderie between at least two of us, like where it's like, okay, we're kind of getting this, we're showing that we're a bit ethical, we're gonna do something right, or we're maybe gonna align in this way.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
I think Shannon just has to play the old Noodle Man.
oh yeah, okay.
That's where we're going. We're going to see Enrique.
Enrique the Noodle
I'm gonna
Man.
make the best.
You got some
cutting
work for us?
noodles ever.
We've got a vegetable run, you guys. Don't worry. You're smuggling vegetables from Earth.
begin farming
Space
now.
farming.
Yeah.
George Lucas is all
That's
over
one of
it.
the in the Expanse book. One of the biggest black markets is cheese.
Really?
Yeah, because
Oh,
cheese from Earth is so rare, and they can't grow those types of molds out on the outer rim.
Yeah, yeah.
And so cheese is the biggest black market export.
That's funny. You guys are on the show at all?
No, not at all.
That makes sense.
We have a question. What will Shan roll next, and will it be a robot?
Is there robots in this world?
People are asking.
I'll be
Yeah.
a drone.
People have any?
We haven't decided.
If you have any ideas for a new character, people are pretty surprised by that.
Yeah.
The boy in the box.
Well, yeah, I could be a guest. Yeah.
Loboto boy.
Someone said they were hoping they would turn you over and you were a robot. A rentplicant. So many puns. God damn it. That's right up your alley, Jordan.
I know, I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty
that.
good.
No, I see. This is the thing I've been worried about the most, and this is why there's been definitely some character conflict with Flint a lot, just because I think it's because Lonnie and I have played this game and we've seen how quickly people can die.
Yeah.
And that's like, there's the like, no, we need to get the fuck out of here. We need to leave no people behind that can point in the direction that we're going, and we need to be as safe as possible.
Yeah, so for everyone watching, like,
System's
you can
good.
die in this game really easily.
Yeah, it is.
You
And
can die.
that's the thing. If Shannon had got the hero point, she wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
It would have been.
I spent
She
all
would
my
have been
hero
really
points.
badly hurt, but she could have spent a hero point to go from being killed outright to being incapacitated.
I just
That's what a
really-
hero point. That's the difference one can make.
Yeah.
I wanted to up my what did I take? Something really.
Not dying skill.
Yeah, I took I took
Good.
some more hand to hand, and I spent my hero point. Oh, that really helps me right now. Also, we broke the cardinal rule of RPG, and it's like, let's split up. And I realized that on the break. I'm like, oh, we just split up, didn't we?
We have a question. Let's see. Does anyone in the cast have backup characters or thought out and are ready to go?
Nope.
No.
Maybe now.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
consider bringing characters back from sessions that we've already played in this world, but
Yeah.
other than that, no, but we should because it's scary.
Yeah, it's so someone commented that they're not surprised because I've been itching to kill a character. That's actually not true. I haven't been trying to kill people, but sometimes it happens. In the case of this game is infinitely more brutal than Dungeons and Dragons.
But you'll still kill people in Dungeons and Dragons. I've played campaigns where he's killed, and it's like
But it just like it makes it like better storytelling.
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
like,
there's
now-
stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well now people know that like any of us could die at any second.
One dice roll
Yeah.
that I made.
Unlike those superhero movies,
Oh, yeah.
there's actually stakes in our story.
But I mean, you had a dice roll that saved your ass in that moment too, because
Yeah.
it could have potentially been two of them very easily.
Yeah.
Then we're like taking casting calls for Gadfly. Like, we have no more casts. Like, anybody want to join?
I'll admit, though,
that is a rule though. That if you die in game, we get to kill you. We throw you off the balcony.
Yeah, so
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
I love you, but it's the rules. So.
Well-
blood sport.
Single
Yeah.
father.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, if anything, I was more concerned that we would get kind of like, not like a pathetic death, because I'm sure you would like emphasize it if it was a player death, but
Right.
that was probably the most beautiful way you could possibly die.
That was pretty cool.
It kind of reminded me of like when we played Dread, and it was just like, if you just don't feel like you can make it, just knock the tower over and describe how you're gonna die.
Yeah.
That was about the best way you could possibly
It was-
have gone out.
It was also super melodramatic, which like fit with the
With your character.
love.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. No, I thought it was really good.
My character's now going to be watching so much of that soap opera.
Yeah, maybe we can make it like a soap opera, and she comes back like 6 episodes from now.
No, the twin sister. It's exactly the
Oh
same.
yeah.
That's her character.
Yeah.
Sin.
Well, it's
Sin instead of red.
Yeah.
Aw.
Sin Dingus.
Who really is your illegitimate child somehow, even though she's a twin sister.
I got a question. I know you watch Critical Role, and they're speaking to me. What other shows do you guys watch, and do you draw ideas from them? I watch Critical Role, but I keep it pretty separate from what I'm doing. I mean, I've been DMing games since I was 15, so I kind of go on my own experiences, I guess, for gaming. And one of the things that I've really learned, if you guys ever have an opportunity, we all did a podcast together called Both and Banter, and that taught me a lot about shifting away from like I'm the storyteller and I want you guys to do my story towards like it's your story and I'm just gonna fill the spaces in and try to like put story in there to keep you guys going, but I want you to make the decisions. And that's changed everything for me. Like this game, for instance, like none of this was railroaded. It was like it's really based on the decisions and everything that happens. I love playing games like that, and I talk a lot about that in the podcast. I do a section called the GM's Corner, and I talk a lot about what I've learned through playing the Both and Banter. And Both and Banter is our Star Wars game that we did. That was I think 14 episodes, which we still have to record the last one. Hopefully, we can get that done at some point.
That.
But it's that game was a really awesome learning experience. I don't know, you guys are also in it. What do you have to think about that game in particular?
Well, I think especially I'm seeing it now a lot more, just because like the ending to this has just like proven how much character based it is, rather than like you watch things like what was Will Wheaton's one?
I know what you're talking about. The one
it's Titan's Grave.
Titan's Grave,
where
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's very much like his story, and he wants to tell it to the point where it kind of feels a little unfair to the players, because like some of the like great moments there are like when they're getting into character and really describing what's going on, and it's like I like those opportunities, especially because like I'll try and do something and then like someone will throw a wrench into that plan.
Yeah,
and it
like,
makes it amazing.
You really can't. Yeah, you can't sway the story. But I find that the way that Curtis DMs, it's like that with every system, D&D as well. Like, you roll with us. Because we completely, like, throw a wrench into your story all the time, right?
we did an episode last night of D20 Babes where I had planned for a scenario where two of the characters were outed they had a criminal past and bounty hunters found them and took them into custody. But I had planned out this scenario that they might fight them. They might try to get away.
And you were so excited.
But they didn't. They surrendered, and then what happened was other things happened in the story, because I had these awesome characters written out.
That would have murdered us all.
Well, it wouldn't have murdered you. It would have been a tough fight, but it was like,
Yeah.
I was planning for it, and then the story turned at the end that they ended up working together to fight off a different threat, and it was like, it was cool, but I don't care. I'm like, that is good drama. That is really interesting. That you can, and that's the thing. I don't hold on to story ideas too much, and it's better for it, I think.
Yeah, I think it's something I also learned a lot from playing Fiasco, where nobody's trying to win. Everyone's trying to tell the best possible story they can and to play within character.
Yeah, the one that's true to you.
Yeah, and this is something I learned like just from watching Jordan play. Is like he'll roll on his own silently to make decisions for his character.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Yeah.
And like that's something that I've tried to start doing with my character, because you always want to do whatever your character would do instead of like what you as a person would do.
That's
It's hard to separate that for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's just the way that I try and separate player and character knowledge. Because like that's one of the things where like a lot of times I'll come up with an idea like, oh, that's really great, but then I'm like, would my character think of that?
Yeah, it also helps with decision making, because like I didn't want to leave Rin's body there as like a person, and I knew Enoch wouldn't either, so I had to roll to like make the decision of like willpower, like would he have the ability to leave her body or would he have to take it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I don't know, the collaborative aspect is my favorite part, and I think we've. Well, I don't think you've played a game with us. Have you played Fiasco with us yet?
Yeah.
You did but we've all played Fiasco. At least the four of us have played it quite a lot together.
Yeah.
And that is like there is no game master. We are all telling the story together. That has taught me a massive amount about storytelling in role-playing games.
Also, if anyone watching this is a writer, like Fiasco has taught me a lot just about writing in general. And how to create unique characters that don't sound like yourself. So Fiasco is awesome. You can play it.
Giving everyone their own story to tell, even in the larger narrative, right? Like making sure that everyone feels like the protagonist and their story, and that the conflict comes from competing protagonists trying to get different things. Mm-hmm. Even though, like, as the main arc, we're trying to achieve maybe a similar goal. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants it for different reasons, and that when you're put at a table like that, it makes it way more interesting.
Yeah,
because we're trying to dupe each other sometimes.
Yeah, and it's sometimes like the most wacky fiascos are the ones that are just like, what is when you do have a lot of storytellers in the same room, because you guys all have such a creative story in your mind, but they're all competing like a weird going in different places, so it just turns into this surreal like
when we played
craziness. It's like
the log jam.
The log jam.
Money Town.
We have a question. So they asked, which is kind of tied into that. They asked, how does it feel playing a mostly evil campaign? And that actually, when we played the first two, I think it was after the second one, we all were trying to figure out what. There seemed to be like an issue in the story. We were trying to figure out what it was, and we realized that it was mostly an evil campaign, but we didn't understand the motivations. And there was nothing tying everyone together. And that's often the problem with evil games, is that they break down after 2 or 3 sessions because everyone's just trying to do their own thing, and eventually you fuck everybody over.
Someone ends up murdering another person.
Exactly. And it usually goes from character drama to like player drama. People get pissed off at each other, and it ends. And so we had to do something.
I also think it's just a really bad way to look at any sort of storytelling, whether it's this or writing, to look at things in terms of just good or evil. Because even characters that are criminals or whatever, they still have a life and they still have morals and things that tie them back to
doing the wrong things for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So that's really important when you are playing a so-called evil campaign, to understand your character and the things that sort of redeem them and make them three-dimensional.
That's why I like that show, The Expanse, because if you think of it as I started watching it thinking of it as an RPG campaign. I'm like, this is perfect.
It feels like it
because
big time.
That's a perfect way of setting up a group of people together that are technically criminals and running, but they're not. Like it sets them up in a way where it's very understandable, and they're not all like. It's not an evil campaign.
Throats,
well, I mean, they have very legitimate reasons, and very legitimate backstories.
We had another question: do cyborgs or androids exist in this world?
That's up to
really fucking hope so.
Yeah, we said we're kind of like creating as we go.
We're creating. So the difference between someone asked earlier if this is the same as the faction system. It's not. The faction system was more on my end, where I did all of kind of the back end work and then just let them loose in that field. But this is much more like so there's a bit of backstory to this game. I've been running this loose world for probably about 5 years, predominantly with Lonnie and with Jordan. We've been playing it the most, but it was always like we were kind of making it up as we went along anyway. There wasn't, we understood the basics of the world. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're actually creating this live. So a lot of the stuff that's happening, like that's why we're getting some stupid names like Kang and Kyle Reese.
But some of that's fun.
But some of it's fun, and because
yeah.
we're building this together, and so we're not stepping on each other's toes. Like, we give Zach a hard time for that, but it works in the world.
Yeah.
It works in the world, and it's like this city now, and that's just part of it. So we give each other that space to be like, create on the fly. Like, even the first city, New Avalon, if you guys noticed, I said, what is the city called? And Zach came up with that, and now that's in the canon as one of the major cities on Mars. And we've just kind of, sometimes we talk after the game as well, a little bit about, to solidify what we've talked about during the session, and then go from there. So it's pretty different from the faction system. This is much more, we are all doing this together.
Well, like, and I think this is something that we talked about when we were like trying to figure out a little bit more of the world stuff. Is that, like, one of the things that I'm really interested in is how you look back at the past. In a lot of ways, we misinterpret things. Like, for example, people think that people put F's in different things instead of S's, but people just knew to read that as an S rather than an F. Right. But everyone's like, oh, it's like, I don't know, instead of sauna it would be fauna or something like that. I don't know if they would have a sauna back then, but like, yeah, so it's like those weird things. So like, even if someone's just like, oh yeah, it's Kang because it's Space Tang,
right?
It's like, these would be the things. Or when Lonnie brought up, was like, I'm gonna watch my favorite movie, the classic Corky Romano. It's like things that we may hate now, but you never know how the future's gonna view us.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, we all misinterpret the past.
Let's see here. Someone asked, what about chatting, but can we make suggestions for the world? It's still in progress of being built. I mean, I'm open to it. That's the whole thing, is like, I don't think we've really pumped that out enough, that that's what this show is. Yes, it's an RPG, but it is a really open, we want you guys to be involved, not just in like hearing, watching us, and seeing the stories unfold, but if you want to like write a story set in this universe and you want to share it, we will fucking retweet that. We will put it out there for people to read, and you know, like, we are content creators, so stuff like that is really interesting to us.
Yeah, if you do have suggestions, please just like head on Twitter and mention Curtis, or just do like hashtag Gadfly RPG, and we all look at that stuff all the time. So please give us suggestions. We're happy to
we definitely want everyone's
service you guys who are watching, because really this is for you also as much as it is for us.
Yeah, if you've got like a cool idea and you just want to draw it, or like whatever your medium is. Yeah. Hell, if you want to make a tiny little like prototype game, I will love it.
Jordan's a game designer, and like we all bring a little bit something different to the table, I think, too. Well, you're also a storyteller, because you are doing storytelling in your level design. I think it's kind of interesting. We all do storytelling in different ways, a lot of the ways, but.
I just make stories that make Curtis grow.
So we all have Twitter accounts. Thank you, and Nick just posted that. You can find all of our Twitters there. You can message us, or you can hashtag Gadfly RPG, and we can just have a conversation online, which kind of is fitting for what this game is. Yes, that's right. Anyone else? Any questions?
Comments, concerns?
Yeah, we'll got a few more minutes here before we normally wrap up. But thanks for coming out, everyone. Yeah. You know, I know we're a smaller, quieter show, but I mean, this is kind of what it's about, is building a small community. That was the main reason I started StarCycle, actually, is that I know so many creative people in Vancouver, and I wanted to give people a platform to promote themselves. And like, we all work on different things. Shannon has her D20 Babe show. Jordan is working here locally for studio, but he's also doing his own development on his own games on the side. Lonnie does films, he writes comics, he writes novels, he does everything. Zach does the same thing, and I write comics as well. So this is just like what I wanted to promote local people, and that's why Absinthe of Art happened, is to get local artists and promote them as well. So that's what this is really about. So that if you come to this channel, that's what you're going to find, is just Vancouver people who do cool shit.
I do have one question for the audience.
All right, go
Are
ahead.
These earrings working for me?
Should he get his ears pierced? Because I've got really awesome.
Chat. Well, let's get some.
Okay,
opinions.
I don't know if I'm gonna go that far, Shannon.
Come on.
I can tell you from
how
sitting
heavy these are.
right beside you. You should wear those all the time. Yeah, they're working.
Thank you.
They're working
fabulous,
really well.
Yeah.
Go to work tomorrow with them on.
Yeah.
You could.
I could. Yeah. You know what? I'd actually be interested to see what would happen. I work
like
in a
a lot of
very
people would
broy
say-
studio.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want those kind of ideas in.
I hope no one would actually say that. I would be very disappointed in life in general.
So if you're on this channel, so these are the shows that we currently have running. We have this show, which happens Tuesday nights at 7:30. Theoretically every week for as long as we can get it going, and then our next show is Saturday nights, and that is Absent of Art, where we have local artists come in. We do a live drink and draw, and that's been a lot of fun. You guys have been really supportive with that. And then the last show we have right now is Sundays at 6 p.m. is with the moderator for this channel, Derek, who's also known as the Deef. He does a couple hours on like kind of indie retro games, or just kind of like maybe games that people aren't aware of, and he kind of does like a breakdown tutorial of them. It's called Last Call, so you can check that out. But yeah, someone said you can't see the earrings. Let's
get up close. They're beautiful. They're beauties.
There we go.
Lonnie, can you be my Vanna White for a second?
I have a question about, can I give away skill? Like, can I give my computer skills to somebody? Can I give away anything?
The answer is definitely no.
Come on. Someone needs to be.
So yeah, you guys don't have a hacker now. He has your computers. Your computer
yeah, that's like the worst person.
Probably one of the
Does anybody have computers?
No.
Well,
I have a little
crosses like 40 years of people.
All right,
how much do you have?
We will probably call it there, guys. We will be 19. Back next Tuesday night.
Dump all your things and take my comm.
With more Gadfly, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with the crew, and theoretically we'll also have Recluse Brown back, so I don't have to play him anymore like a big old softie, because I don't know if that's. I think he is, but
he's a softie down. You've got the food part right.
Gentle giant.
Yeah.
Gentle giant.
Postmodern skill town.
We will hashtag Gadfly RPG until 10:15 Pacific Standard Time, where you can have an opportunity to win this little thing here by Max Dunbar. It is a Tiefling Space Sorcerer, and you have to be back next week to find out whether or not you win it. We'll announce it right before the break of the next episode. So thanks so much for coming out, guys. We will see you all next week, and don't forget to check in Saturday and Sunday for our shows on StarCycle.
We'll be showing my memorial service at the beginning of the next.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.